ceremonial meeting of the town council, and I'm hoping this will be our last virtual ceremonial meeting. Before we actually go into the main body of our agenda tonight, we would normally, I'm sitting here in King's House, and normally we would have the privilege of having our regalia fully displayed, but due to circumstances, we're no longer, we're not able to do that. But we do have a short video from Reverend Peter Herbert before we go open the meeting.
Let us pray. Almighty God, our Heavenly Father, you promised through your Son Jesus Christ to hear us when we pray in faith. And so in these dark and difficult days, we turn to you, the God of deliverance, praying for our community, our nation, and our world. Give wisdom beyond human wisdom to our leaders. Give strength beyond human strength to the NHS and all our frontline workers. Give comfort beyond human comfort to all those who grieve, those who are vulnerable, those who are lonely, those who are scared. Turn your face towards us, we ask, and have mercy on us. We pray for your hand of protection and blessing on the needy and vulnerable in our town, on local businesses and jobs, on all our schools, and on all for whom our town is a place to live, to work, and to relax. And this evening we pray especially for our council as they gather online. Would you give them wisdom and skill, imagination and energy, vision, understanding and integrity, we pray. And through their labours, bring your blessing on our community. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. And so as we draw our prayers together, let me invite you to join me, if you wish, in the words of the Lord's Prayer as we pray together. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, for ever and ever. Amen.
Thank you, and thank you to the Reverend Peter Herbert for leading us in prayer. Just a short note for those joining us tonight on the live stream. Due to my infinite capacity for not understanding technology, the town clerk, Miss Cannell, will assist me in raising. Let me know when the council wishes to comment or raise a question on a matter. And before we go into the full body of our meeting, it's our tradition that we open it to a public forum for questions. Tom, you're facilitating tonight's meeting. Have we any questions come through on the live feed? Okay. I was hoping people would take the opportunity whilst we was in prayer to maybe raise a question. And with colleagues' permission, I will give it a short while longer, and then failing that, move on to the full body of our evening's agenda. Is there any more questions?
I'll just tell you that the Deputy Mayor is having trouble getting on, so I've given him another link, and I'm hoping he'll come on soon. Would you like me to start the presentation?
One moment, Chris. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for the update regarding the Deputy Mayor. Tom, do we have any questions? Okay. Thank you very much. I've just had confirmation from our facilitator of tonight's meeting that there's no questions come through on the live feed. So with my colleague's permission, I will move on to our agenda. And our first item, as always, is 532/20, declarations of disclosable pecuniary interest. And that's to receive any additional interest not already registered. I'm quite happy to take those prior to an agenda item or actually the agenda item itself. Is there anybody that wishes to declare an interest at this stage? Brilliant. Silence is golden. Swiftly on to 533/20, which is apologies for absence to receive. Chris,
I've received
apologies.
I've received apologies from Councillor Hollis, and Councillor Brindle is still trying to come on, as far as I can see.
Excellent. Other than that, Chris, we're a full complement. Then.
No, there are 2 other absences.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Item 535/20 is, sorry, I've jumped ahead in my eagerness. It's 534/20, and that's the minutes, to confirm the minutes of the full council meeting held on the 27th of October. Accepting those items dealt with following the exclusion of press and public to be addressed under agenda number 541/20. So, page 1.
They're on the screen, Chair. Can you see the screen?
I can, Chris. Thank you very much.
What we're doing today is that we're just looking at the resolved and the recommended, rather than go through the whole of the minutes, because everybody's had a chance to look at those.
And colleagues comfortable with that? Again, silence is gone. So, is that the first page in front of us, Chris, with the resolved on?
Yeah. So it's those 2. Yes, it's those 2, and then there's another one. As we go along, I'll talk you through them. So you need to resolve both those full council meetings that happened.
Okay. Colleagues happy to resolve those?
Yes.
I can see
Mr. Mayor, can I explain about the format? I don't know if you remembered when I did the minutes in September, that all the councillors received the papers prior to the meeting, and because there was so many minute paper, there was just lots of scrolling through lots of minutes, which was why we went for the actual decisions that were made in the minutes in the short brief, because we seem to miss a lot of it with Chris still just scrolling through everything trying to get to the decisions. So this is just a repeat of what happened in the September meeting, because Roy, of the amount of minutes.
Roy, you had your hand up.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No, it was only just to ask that question. We were just looking at the resolved and not everything. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the clarity, both. Okay.
Councillor Jeremy's got his hands up.
Terry.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple of points, if I may. Firstly, I think if the council is going to change the way in which minutes are presented, it really should be a decision which is voted upon and approved by councillors, not just something that is sort of unilaterally changed without any discussion or agreement as a matter of principle, as the first point. The second point is I'm not a member of every committee of council, but I do like to try and at least do my job as thoroughly as I can, and therefore I do read the minutes from committee meetings that I'm not a member of, just to try and get an understanding of the work that they're doing. The downside of only publishing at full council the resolved and recommendations is that we can't get a flavour of all of the discussion and the context and that sort of thing. So I think there are some weaknesses in not presenting everything, although obviously, you know, as councillors we can go back and dig out other information, you know, if we want. But there certainly is a downside in my book of everything not being presented. The final point on minutes is I think if we are going to agree this now moving forward, we do need to record in the minutes that we've decided to do this, so that in the future we don't refer back, as often is the case, that something, oh, it's in the minutes and therefore it must be accurate. i.e. if we're not having the body of the debate in the minutes aware, and we are not being asked at this point at full council to adopt the minutes, we can't use them as a reference document in the future because we haven't consciously as a full council adopted them. So I think there's some weaknesses there. The final point I was just going to ask is, because the main issue from full council on the 27th of October was the public space protection order, I just wondered if we could have confirmation, please, that we did submit a response on behalf of the town council to support the public space protection order being renewed, as we agreed to at the last meeting. Thank you.
Could I just come back on that, Mr. Mayor? This isn't actually the documentation for the meeting. This is merely the presentation. The councillors have all been sent out all the minutes prior to the meeting, and this is merely the PowerPoint presentation that goes with the meeting. It's not actually the full council pack, just to clarify that.
Well, can I come back on that, Mr. Mayor?
Please do.
The full council pack, which I've got in front of me, which I downloaded from the email for this evening's meeting, is as presented on screen. I don't have anything available to me in the full council pack for tonight that's different to the screen.
One moment, Chris.
Could I just report when you're ready? Tell me when you're ready. Yeah.
Thank you.
Can I just report that every last paper was sent out to you last Thursday, with the agenda and every meeting on there. Every meeting.
Jane, I can see you got your hand up.
Sorry, I'm muting myself. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd just like a moment of clarification, please. So all documents were circulated to all councillors on Friday the 20th of November, and I believe that email was dated at 9:10 on Friday morning.
Yeah.
Can I just clarify that, have all those documents been made publicly available on our website for members of the public to engage with as well, please? Thank you.
Can I answer that, Chair? Yes, that was done at the same time, and you'll find them all on there with the agenda. So the minutes of all the council meetings were on there from last Friday.
Right. Okay. There's obviously some disagreement. I bet it's probably too strong a word, actually, but probably we need further clarification on the presentation of minutes at full council at the moment. I don't think it's been agreed across council, Tina. Am I correct?
This is merely the meeting presentation. It's not actually the full council pack.
Okay.
So, and the comments from councillors before was we were scrolling through all the minutes so quickly that people couldn't read them, and Chris was going backwards and forwards. But it's not actually something that needs to be a full council decision now.
Terry.
Yeah, I just wanted to check what the minutes clerk said there, because I've just got the website up, and for example, the amenities committee on the 4th of November, I can see the agenda for the November meeting, but the minutes aren't there. And we're being asked tonight to agree the minutes from the November meeting, and so on and so forth. The minutes from October, as presented at the November meeting, are on the website, but they're not on the website in live time for tonight's meeting, and therefore it is a weakening of people's ability to hold the council to account. I have no idea what we're talking about if we're not presenting them in advance or in full on the screen. I mean, if we were in physical meeting form, are we saying that we wouldn't print the full minutes for members of the public that attend? We would only give them the sort of abridged highlights, if you like.
Can I just answer that before Tina answers that one, please, to say that they're all under, if you look, they're all under the full council agenda for the 24th of November, Terry. Everyone is on there, which includes all the minutes.
And how would a member of the public know that? Are they crystal ball?
Well, that publishes all the minutes that are going to be discussed at this meeting. It wouldn't be any good going all the way through all the other ones. This is every last paper that's on the 24th of November is on the calendar.
Well, I've clicked the link under full council ceremonial for tonight, and it gives me the agenda only. It doesn't give me any minutes.
So before this goes to anyone else's, Brenda, you had your hand up.
Yeah, yeah, sorry, Mr. Chairman. I'm a bit confused because any member of the public that follows council meetings, they must be in a dilemma because we do it one way, Breckland do it another. When you go on to Breckland, any meeting in Breckland, I'm just sitting there. I don't know what they're talking about. I just have to sit there and try and work out what it is they're saying because I don't see no paperwork. The same as Norfolk County Council. And I think from the public point of view, you know, all try to work to the same system. Come up with a system that works, you know, works properly because it's the same on other councils. And I just think we need to, so it's no good moaning at us and then someone else does it differently.
Could I just answer that, Chair? Is that what we've done here is that we've taken every particular item which has either been resolved or recommended, which is the main points that people want to do. So if we look at this public space protection order, it actually details exactly what the discussion was, and then it goes down to where it was resolved, and that's what we need to look at.
Okay.
Much of the other stuff was just added papers, appendices and so on. In fact, there was like 110 or 120 pages of items going through.
I'm going to take Jane, then I'm going to try and actually move the agenda on. That's okay. Jane.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm really sorry, but Councillor Jeremy is correct. I've just clicked through on the calendar. There is a lovely piece, and I'm going to put it up in front of me. Full ceremonial town council. There's then a piece that says event details. It then says full council November 2020 agenda. There's been 14 downloads allegedly, and then full council 2020 minutes. If I click on the 2020 minutes, it automatically comes through as a download. Apologies, I'm talking, so it's taking a little bit longer for me to come up. I open my file. There is page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5 and page 6. There is not the committee minutes. There are only the papers for full council. There is not the committee. And as part, I'm really sorry, as part of the transparency code, we are required to publish these. And it disappoints me greatly that the great steps that we've taken to get paperwork out to our members of the public, especially at this time when they can't engage with meetings, we are failing at present. And I say that as the royal we as Thetford Town Council, and all of us have that responsibility. We do not have that paperwork available. Now, there is stuff on there from the agenda. I've just clicked on the Finance Committee. There are downloads, but there are not the minutes. And we need to be kinder to our public and actually kinder to ourselves and actually support each other and get the right things out there. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Sorry, it took me a little bit longer. Have you frozen, Mr. Mayor?
No, fine. It's fine. Actually, if you that debate longer, it will.
I can't understand you, Mr. Mayor.
Minute space, I can't. Page. But in light of the in light of the comments, I think and further clarity. Okay. being sought by councillors. Are you hearing me? No. Thank you very much. Then I will continue with the meeting. Okay. So I'm going to do apologise for the technical issues there, colleagues and public. I'm going to revert back to our traditional method of taking the minutes page by page until we get further clarification on this proposed new method. So page 1, page 2, page 3, 4, 5 and 6. Can I move the minutes, please? Thank you, colleagues. Thank you. Thank you very much. That does move us on to item 535/20, and that's our committee reports. And the first one is the allotments committee. Over to you, Councillor Crawford. Dennis.
Hello, yes. I don't have the minutes in front of me at the moment, but
Dennis, would you like me to help by running through the pages?
Well, yes, please. There's no recommendations on that one, so yes.
So we have page 1, page 2, and page 3.
Move the minutes.
Move the minutes, Dennis. All those in. Thank you very much. And then we move on to our personnel committee. Roy, over to you to present, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to present the minutes of the Personnel Committee meeting held on Tuesday, the 3rd of November. There are no recommendations. Page 1.
Full council.
Page 2.
Roy?
Yep.
Sorry to interrupt. Can I see a clarification at the bottom of page 2? It says councillor proposed and councillor seconded. There's no names attributed to that.
Page 2. You are correct, Mr. Mayor. I don't know why the councillors' names were not put in.
I'm sure.
I must admit, I am actually remiss here because I should have asked Councillor Crawford to present these minutes because it was a meeting that I wasn't at. To be honest, my head's all over the place at the moment. I'm ever so sorry, but I wasn't at that meeting. So if Dennis would like to present them, he can answer your questions.
Thank you. Yeah,
thank you very much, Chair. Yeah, bringing to that, I was just trying to figure out who were the proposer and seconder there.
Well, you wouldn't know because the small version doesn't tell you the attendees either.
So on that, I can't really.
So looking at my notes, it was you and Brenda.
Yeah, I was going to say I thought Brenda was one of them, and I could have been the other because it was a very small meeting. So yeah,
so we can adjust the minutes to see that. And
please.
Terry made a comment about the attendees not being noted. I'm sure that we can get those adjusted. Would you like to take us through the rest of the agenda, Dennis?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Again, I've got the recommendation at the base of the page 2, and then moving on, and that's it. That's all I've got on my screen now.
Okay, well, the recommendation is full council agree the office Christmas closure dates, which I think everyone's, I'm assuming, I shouldn't really do that, is agreed?
Agreed, yes.
Thank you very much. Would you like to move the minutes, Dennis?
Yes, may I move the minutes for the personnel meeting?
Thank you. Thank you. We now move on to the ALP committee, which is over to Councillor Jeremy. Terry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Sorry, I don't know if I missed it when your connection was poor, and I don't like to assume things, but are we agreeing as a council, therefore, that we're going to revert back to the previous way of presenting minutes until we've adopted a new approach, or is this new approach taken as read moving forward?
Well, we've all just gone through page by page, so it's our traditional method.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. These are the unconfirmed minutes of amenities, land and property from the 4th of November. They're the unconfirmed minutes at this point. There's a couple of recommendations. I can't give you the page number without getting the original up in front of me.
Would you like me to assist?
Would you mind? That'd be lovely.
Okay, so we have page 1. On page 2, there is a recommendation that the ALP committee recommend the ALP budget as presented to be accepted by the Finance Committee. All in favour? I can see people putting their hands up in the chat.
We've got, oh, a minute. We have Councillor Hodgkinson, Councillor Harvey, Councillor Wright, oh, a minute, oh, they're all coming at once, sorry. They're filling up my screen. Councillor Barretto, Councillor James.
Excellent. Okay. Anybody else before we move this on? Okay. We then on, so I take it that's agreed. We then move on to page 3, and you have 2 recommendations there, Terry. Do you want to take them on block or separately?
I'm not sure if they're controversial or not, Mr. Mayor, so in the interest of brevity, I'm happy to take them on block.
Okay, the first recommendation from the ALP committee is that Thetford Town Council replace the Castle Park equipment with the winning design, a Viking-themed play piece at a cost of £17,500 from the Play Park reserves. And the second recommendation, well, actually, it's probably best actually because they're both on different themes. So that's your first recommendation on page 3. And if you could put whether you agree in the chat box, please, colleagues.
So I have, oh, you've all disappeared. Oh my goodness. What happened there? Don't quite know what happened there. My whole screen went. Right. So I have Councillors Wright, Hodgkin. Oh my goodness. What's going on? My screen keeps going black. That's not a good sign. Right. So I have Councillor Wright, Hodgkinson, Jeremy, Harvey, Canham, James. Yeah. Brame. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Thank you. So that's agreed. The second recommendation on page 3 is that the Thetford Town Council appoint a consultant to develop a meanwhile strategy at a cost not exceeding £3,000. I've got Councillor Jane, you got your hands up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Could I just ask for clarity, what budget line is that proposed to be taken out of? Because I'm presuming that as it's coming as a recommendation to this council, it is not currently a budgeted amount. Thank you.
Would you like me to respond, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, please.
Councillor James is absolutely correct, and I'm kicking myself for not spotting that one in the draft minutes because I am fairly fairly focused on making sure recommendations quote the budget that something is coming from. I don't know if the town clerk can assist, but if I remember rightly, it probably should be resolved rather than recommendation, because it is coming from the St Peter's Reserve. Because I did ask the previous town clerk where it was coming from before we took the vote. I'm fairly certain it's from the St Peter's Reserve, but perhaps the town clerk could confirm.
Over to you, Tina.
I think you might have spoken to Ross about that one, and not about me, and not to me actually, Terry. So I would say that if it's within what you agreed to take from reserves, then that wouldn't need another decision. But if that is an addition to what the amount that was already agreed from reserves, then that would have to be a separate decision.
Thank you.
So I think that's separate, otherwise we wouldn't have put it on to, because we had the special meeting, didn't we, in when the consultants came.
Is that sufficient, Jane?
Kind of doesn't really answer the question, Mr. Mayor.
I don't have the budget in front of me to look at it.
Would you like further clarification on what line that's coming from, Jane? As Chair of Finance, I can understand your particular interest on the budget line.
If you just sound in particular, yes, please, Mr. Mayor, and on that basis, I would abstain from voting on this item.
Sorry, Tina, you was about to say something.
I'm just saying, if you would like to move on to the next item or something, then, or is this the last one? I will just see if I can look in the out budget.
If you wouldn't mind just investigating that, and I'll come back to that if it's possible. We're going to move on to page 4, actually. Alp's got plenty of recommendations for us. There's a recommendation.
I think you've got hands up, Mr. Mayor, from Councillor Taylor.
Oh, I do apologise. Mark.
I thought you were ignoring me.
You're impossible to ignore.
Are we talking about this item, or are we parking it and coming back to it?
We're coming back to it, Mark.
Okay, that's okay.
Thank you. So on page 4, there is another recommendation. The Thetford Town Council agree to the refurbishment of the shambles not to exceed £18,000. Delegate the seeking of quotes.
Sorry, can I just butt in, Chair? That's below the line.
Thank you, Chris.
We're taking that one as someone below the line. It's ready to come up there.
Thank you for the early heads up. Is there anything else on the agenda, Chris, that's below the line that I should be aware of?
Yeah, there are when they come along. They're all together when the public have to be excluded.
Yeah, but Chris, that's not what I'm asking.
They're all on there below the line, for instance. You'll see, for instance, on the out meeting, the minutes that you've got there, the below the line starts at 488.20.
Okay, well, I've got the agenda printed off in front of me, Chris. It's not clear, but I'll pick this up offline. Okay, there are recommendations after 482.20. So, Tina, have you managed to find that information?
Actually, reading through it, I think that was something that we were going to do. We were going to, when we applied English Heritage, we were going to try and claim it as part of the meanwhile use. So I would suspect that's an additional from reserves, but I can't see in the minutes or on the budget that's been clearly pointed out.
Okay. So we're not confident about what budget line this is coming from. Is the short answer on that one. at this stage. Jane?
Might I make the suggestion then in that case that it gets deferred back to the next out committee? I'm sorry, Councillor Jeremy, and then that clarification is sought within that forum. Is that okay?
Sorry, I just need to butt in again. Alan's been working on other work as well, and we have agreed 53,000 from reserves this year, and that will include that. For next year's budget, that will include that.
Okay. So
if councillors agree to it, that is.
So we agree to the consultant for the Meanwhile strategy with a cost not exceeding £3,000. That comes out of the £53,000 pounds allocated for the next financial year.
Mr. Mayor, I'm really sorry, but can I just clarify something? So we're asking full council to vote on a recommendation that will impact on the budget that has not been set before full council.
Yes, but I believe it's part of what ALP have put forward as their proposed.
So it can't be part of a recommendation. Apologies, Mr. Mayor, but it can't be part of a recommendation to full council, because full council cannot ratify something that they haven't had sight of, because we haven't done next year's budget yet or the precept setting yet.
I tend to agree.
I'm happy, Mr. Mayor, if I may, to take Councillor James' suggestion and defer a vote on that agenda item.
Yeah, thank you. And after that item, we actually, everything else is below the line. So, are you happy to move the minutes at that point, Terry?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Sorry for the confusion with those. Happy to move the minutes, please.
Have we finished on? We haven't finished on that, have we?
The item's been deferred, Mark.
Okay. You need to be a bit more clearer for us people who are slow, Mr. Chair. We're not as quick as you. We're up and down like somebody's drawers at the minute.
As ever, Mark, you paint a colourful picture, but I will take that in mind.
I am finding it hard to stay with it. Are we talking or are we not talking at the minute? Just a bit of clarity would be good. Okay, Mark. Thank you for your sage comment. We're now on to our planning committee minutes. Do we have Councillor Brindle with us? Mike, are you with us?
No, but the vice chair is Councillor Wright.
Thank you. Over to you, Stuart.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The planning committee meeting of the 14th of November. I think there's any recommendations there. There's one resolved matter, so page 1 and page 2.
Would you like to move the minutes, Stuart?
Please.
All agreed?
Yes.
Thank you all. We now move on to the BEM committee, which took place on the 11th of November, and this was actually myself. There are no recommendations. Page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and finally 10. Could I move the minutes, please, colleagues? Agreed. Thank you all. We now move on to our cemetery committee, and that's over to Councillor Hodgkinson. Dave.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to present the minutes of the cemetery committee on Friday, 13th of November. There's one page of minutes and then 2 appendixes which show the budgets. There's one recommendation that the cemetery committee recommend the cemetery budget for 2021-22 be accepted by the finance committee. Present the minutes.
Thank you. So we'll address the recommendation first. All those in favour? I can see hands going.
Yes, in favour.
Thank you. I'm not sure if people are putting that. Mark, you've raised your hand. Is that in agreement?
Yes.
Thank you.
Just waiting for them all to finish buzzing on my screen, Mr. Mayor, because they cover the rest of the chat up.
Thank you. And just for the members of the public watching the meeting tonight, we have a chat box where councillors are able to put their comments, and it enables them on an item where we need a vote to actually put whether they agree, want to abstain from an item, or to vote against. And that's currently what's happening. So I do apologise, it might go a bit quiet for you while watching. Oh, fantastic, fantastic. Which explains my technical expertise.
So we have agreed from councillors Hodgkinson, Harvey, Wright and Barrett. Oh, a minute.
I'd also agree.
Yeah. And Dennis. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Thank you very much. So that's agreed. You'd like to move the minutes, Dave?
Yes, I move the minutes for acceptance, please.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
We're back to Councillor Crawford. You must have had a bumper crop, Dennis, because we're back to the allotment committee.
Yes, it's a one-page thing, so I'd like to place. There's one recommendation on at the base of the page that the allotment committee recommend that the allotment budget for 2021-22 be accepted by the finance committee. So that went to the finance committee.
All in favour?
Yep. Mark's raising his hand.
So I have Councillor Wright, Councillor Barretto, Councillor Harvey, Councillor Hodgkinson.
Yeah, I'm in favour also.
Councillor Canham. Yeah, and Dennis. Councillor Crawford.
You not see my hand?
Yeah, is that to speak or to vote, please, Councillor Taylor?
I generally put my hand up for both the same.
Okay, no problem. And Councillor Taylor.
Thank you all. I don't believe is anyone against? Okay. Thank you very much. Would you like to move your minutes, Dennis? Dennis?
Sorry, I muted myself. Yeah, sorry, Chair. Yes, may I move the minutes for the allotment meeting?
Thank you very much. All agreed. And last but not least, we have the Finance Committee over to Councillor James. Jane.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I beg leave to present the unconfirmed minutes of the virtual meeting of the Finance Committee held on Tuesday, the 17th of December. There are a couple of recommendations. I'll take them page by page as per the email sent out on Friday the 20th. So page 1, and we have our first recommendation there on 52620, which is that Thetford Town Council adopt the income and expenditure reports as evidenced on Appendix C for the 7 months ended the 31st of October 2020, please.
All those in favour?
So that is Councillors Wright, Hodgkinson, Harvey, Graham. You can probably hear the beeping on my laptop, sorry, when they all come through. And that's Councillor Canham and Barretto as well, and Councillor Jones. I think that's a full house. Councillor Taylor.
Marvellous. Thank you. Thanks to you, Jane.
Thank you, Mr.
Councillor
Mayor.
Jeremy.
Can we move on to 52720, which is the recommendation that the making of these payments be approved, and they were listed in Appendix D.
So again, that's councillors Wright, Hodgkinson, Graham, Barretto, Canham, James, Crawford, and I think Councillor Jeremy might have been the first one out of the blocks on that one. So sorry if I missed that out.
Thank you. So that's one. Back to you, Jane.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So we finish on page 1. We go briefly on to page 2. I won't take all the appendices for everybody because there are better things in life to do. Beg leave to move the minutes, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. All in agreement, colleagues?
Agreed.
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 Thank you. Thank you all. That moves us on to item 536/20, which is the Mayor's remarks and reports, and to receive a report from my good self. Let's grab some notes. It's been quite a light month actually for the obvious reasons, because we went into lockdown the sequel at the beginning of November, and that obviously could tell some of the activities in what has been a very different kind of year. But on Friday the 23rd of October, I was pleased to host my first sort of charity event, raising funds for my two charities, TADS and the Six Children's Trust. And that saw the event team deliver a pumpkin carving event. Both the charities provided teams on the night, alongside teams Pink Lemonade, which is a group of young ladies from Thetford that are a very good rock band. The Mayor of Attleborough provided a team, and Tesco Thetford, who also sponsored the event. We had hoped to raise £300 on the night, so I was delighted to say we'd achieved £620, with the Mayoress having the dubious pleasure of making me suffer forfeits, including the custard pie. And I did quip to her, I wish I'd known years ago that was how to make her happy, and it's now become a regular Friday night event. I just want to thank all those contributing, whether they donated, given up the time, or to our events team actually organising the event. Sunday the 8th of November, we experienced a very different kind of Remembrance Day, markedly different from our traditional ceremony. We were not able to come together as a community to remember those brave souls who have made the ultimate sacrifice. The ceremony itself took place within the grounds of King's House Garden. Although a smaller gathering, the remembering of the fallen was dignified and given the due respect owed. It was my privilege to lay a wreath on behalf of the council. And finally, I would like to draw your attention to, I had the opportunity on Wednesday, the 11th of November, I was given the opportunity to visit the new community supermarket at the Charles Barrow Centre prior to it being launched. The objective of the supermarket is to provide good quality, affordable food to people living close by. And the community shop itself is the first in East Anglia and has been created and led by the Norfolk Community Foundation in collaboration with Brecon and the Charles Barrow Centre, and forms part of a wider programme from the Norfolk Community Foundation, Surviving the COVID Winter, which has been launched to encourage people and businesses to support the continual work of local charities and voluntary organisations to combat hunger this winter. Initially, it's families with children at schools on the Barnum Cross estate that are the first to try the shop, which works on a membership basis. And after showing proof of address and paying a one-off joining fee of £3.50 per household, members can purchase fresh, frozen, dried and tin food alongside toiletries, nappies and personal care. These items are provided by charities such as Fair Share, His Church, the Country Food Trust and local partners. And as all the products are provided at a hugely reduced cost, there are usually special offers and free items too. This is a pilot scheme, as I say, it's the first one in East Anglia, and it's hoped that if it's a pilot successful, the membership will be widened to the entire borough ward and beyond that, extended to other areas. And that concludes my report. I'm not sure if there's any hands up or anyone that wishes to make a comment. Failing that, if I have no comments, I will move on to our next item, which is Town Council representatives on other bodies. This is item 537/20 and to receive any reports. Tina, I can't see everybody on my screen because I'm accessing the meeting tonight from my iPad, so I wonder if you could facilitate by just going around the room in alphabetical order, please.
A minute, or I will just pull up the participants. Hold a second.
Thank you.
So, Councillor Canham.
Not this evening, thank you.
Councillor Barretto. Councillor Harvey.
I'm not on any other bodies, thank you.
Councillor Hodgkinson.
Nothing from me, thank you.
Councillor Crawford.
And I'm afraid nothing from me also.
Councillor James is showing us leaving the building. Are you still with us, Councillor James? Oh, I think there might be a bit of an IT issue going on there. Councillor Taylor.
Thank you.
No. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Councillor Brame.
I'm not on any other outside bodies.
Councillor Wright.
Nothing, thank you.
Councillor Jeremy.
Thank you. I'm not on any outside bodies for the Town Council.
I apologise about not being alphabetical order, but I was just reading down the list of the participants.
No, that's great.
My brain isn't quick enough for that.
I realise what I've done to you there, so I do apologise. Thank you for that. Is Councillor James with us, or is the IT issue resolved?
For me, it's showing that he's leaving the meeting, so I think there may be a bit of an IT issue.
Okay. So I'm going to move us on to item 538/20, which is the report from county and district councillors. And again, Tina, if I could ask for your assistance, please.
I think I'm going to start with Councillor Jeremy this time, if that's all right, if only because these are his photographs. So,
Yep.
and I left him to last time, so I'll put him first this time. So, Councillor Jeremy, please.
Thank you very much, Town Clerk. Yes, I've obviously had a bit of time on my hands today and learned how to put some images on a Word document. I just wanted to briefly explain what they are, because I've had a bit of a concerted effort over the last few weeks and months. Street furniture. I was really pleased, as you'll see with the bottom two photos there, the burnt out bins along Hayling Path and Canterbury Way, which are actually Brexham Council owned. They've been replaced now with the much sturdier new bins, thanks to the Town Council team for installing those. They look great. And then the two bins at the very top, which were covered in graffiti, I think the Town Council team have already been down and cleaned them after I reported them on Saturday. So again, big thanks to them. And the middle one, you'll see a bus stop along Eastvale, which is Norfolk County Council, and after several months of asking, they have come along and cleaned them, and I think there are several more due to be cleaned. So I know on their own they're only sort of small and individual improvements, but collectively it makes a big difference if we get something cleaned up, some of the sites. So I wanted to put a visual aid to that, if I may. The less pretty photo on there is the muddy picture at the front of Kim's Belt, just off Pine Close. That's Brecon Council owned land, and I've been working this month with Brecon to have that area tidied up. It was a green area, and a particular company used it as a storage depot linked to something else on the estate, and really sort of destabilised the ground, and autumn's come along and turned it into a real mess. So hopefully that one will be resolved in time. The only other things, I think, I don't know, Chris, if you've got the list that I circulated, if that's on screen or not. Sorry? No, don't worry, it's fine. I can mention it. So I'll publish my usual list of meetings and that sort of thing. But the only other thing I wanted to mention, Mr. Mayor, is the letter that I wrote to Sainsbury's today, to Sainsbury's head office. I don't know if it's just me, but it's the whole of the Sainsbury's car park, Forest Retail Park, the dual carriageway on the other side, and the roundabout and forest area as you come into Thetford. Absolutely full of rubbish, all sorts of sort of fly-tip material in the top of the forest there. That is our entrance to the town. Many people coming to Norfolk. So I have written to Sainsbury's today and asked if they would assist with clearing their car park and to what extent they might help clear the surrounding area. For many people visiting Norfolk to go to the North Norfolk coast or wherever, that's their first impression of our town. And I would hope that Sainsbury's and others could make a real effort to help tidy that up. And I made the point in the letter that there's a lot of volunteers at the moment helping with litter picking. So it would be good if Sainsbury's could assist their efforts, basically. But that's a flavour for you, some of the things that I've been up to this month. Thank you.
Thank you. Chris, you got your hand up.
Yes, please. I would like to ask Terry about the proposals that's come out. I would like the council to strongly object to the reduction in the waste per sector hours.
Chris?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think we're covering that off in another agenda item.
Are we? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be quiet then. Good night.
Oh, it's getting better. Thank you. Is there any other questions for Terry before we move on to another county or district rep? Thank you. Who's next, Tina, please?
If I could have Councillor Brain, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Tina. Not a great deal. I must admit, this month has not been the best month I've ever had. But I did get an email come through on the 20th, which I think on the basis of it is that is good news. The funding for the reduced speed limit for the roads in Thetford that Terry and I have been trying to pursue has received no objections from the recent stakeholders consultation. That's the first step over. There are obviously one or two more that we've got to get over. The next one is the general consultation, which local businesses may well give some sort of comment. But at this moment in time, there is no current reason to alter or cease this project, which I think is as much good news as we're going to get on the road situation at the moment. And I'd like to thank Terry for putting his money in with mine so that we can get Thetford as a safer place. That's all I have.
Roy?
Yep.
That is good news. What can we do collectively to support you in this? Because it's good news for Thetford.
This is very good news. It's one of those horrible things, as we all know, you have to follow the set procedures and they'll go one after the other. So, basically, just talk it up, talk to the public and make sure they understand that this is really beneficial. And if, people don't want to moan about it because it won't help make Thetford safe. But other than that, we're just currently working through the project and fingers crossed that we get over all the hurdles.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Roy. Is who's our next person, team?
Councillor James is still having getting back in. She's just asked me to say that her internet's gone down, so she'll just try and get back in whenever possible. So who have we got there? We've got let me see, Councillor Harvey.
Yes, thank you. When I asked Bretton the question about the problem we're having with vermin by our rivers, and is the baiting regime suitable? The relevant cabinet member said he would look into it. I did receive quite a strange email from him, though, which says it's probably not relevant, but I remember from earlier visits to Thetford that certain individuals were against baiting and in fact fed the rats, as they put it to me, to dilute the poison bait left for them. He wants to know if that's still so. I must admit, I've not seen anyone feeding the rats, but I'm still waiting for clarification on whether or not the regime is going to change. Secondly, and far more upmarket, I'd like to congratulate Flagship on the work they've done cleaning the garage blocks in our town in the last week and a half. I mean, we do give Flagship some grief, but this time they've stood up and they've done a really good job, and I'd like to make sure we give them thanks for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Brindle has been unable to join us tonight, so apart from yourself, that's the Brecon councillors.
Okay, well, thank you for that. The only thing I'm going to add is that is to highlight the local restriction support grant. So up to today, the district council has distributed £1 million in grants to local businesses to help them through the current period of restrictions, and there is further funding available. So in this difficult time, particularly our retail and hospitality sector struggling, I think it's quite important that we share this information. The local restriction support grant is a scheme which is funded by central government. It's available to businesses that have been required to close due to the coronavirus restrictions. The district is trying to make sure it helps as many businesses as possible. In that vein, over 1,400 businesses have been written to, which are eligible for the grant, and there is still payments to be made. So I would encourage, if you're aware of a business that fits the criteria, visit the website and fill that application. And that concludes my very brief update from a Brecon perspective. Mark.
Yeah, just a quick question. How many more businesses are the Conservatives planning on destroying?
I don't believe they're planning on this sort of but it's a political comment. I thought you were going to make a comment on my report. You've just heard me say that the district council has distributed over £1 million in local support grants. You've seen phase 1 of the In Confidence campaign. We're just about to launch phase 2 in time for the Christmas reopening. So, I'm sorry, Mark, I can't agree with your comment.
Oh, just funny, I've got a list of questions here that I would be willing to throw at the Labour contingent, but I've scrubbed Labour out now. I've got Conservative on the top, so stand by over the next few weeks to get all the Labour questions. Good effort on the support to business, by the way.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you. And if I have no further questions, I'm going to move. Oh, we have someone's buzzing in there. We also have Councillor Barretto. It must be something in the air because Councillor Barretto is also struggling with connectivity issues. So before we lose the meeting completely to the internet, I'm going to push on to item 539/20, which is community engagement. And this is normally with any consultation or media release required, but we do have another item. So with Councillor's permission, I will switch that round with item 540/20, which is the NCC budget. And this is receive an update from Councillors Jeremy and Brame. Roy, would you like to open this for us, please?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I welcome this as an agenda item because it's something that's very rarely made such a proactive fuss of. So we must remember that this is a report on the consultation that NCC are currently holding, the results of which will be published in January and used to help the budget proposals in February. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Councillor Jameson, Cabinet Member for Finance at NCC, for his proactive work on this consultation. As I'm sure many of you attended Councillor Jameson's live debate for parish and town councils, facilitated by NALC, in his presentation he was candid on the financial pressures NCC will face in the next financial year, and how the additional COVID-related spending of an estimate of 92 million plus will add to the budgetary pressures. He also enforced how welcome people's feedback is, not only from the public, but also from parish and town councils such as us. Your opinions will inform all budgetary decisions made. Up to this morning, NCC had received over 200 responses, and I can assure you that NCC will listen. If the majority say no, it will be no. Issues like the reduction of the opening hours to our recycling centres, if the people don't like it, it will not happen. I personally believe that a personal response will have a greater influence than a corporate one. So I ask you all, whether you attended the NALC presentation or not, look it up. I'm sure there is a blinky thing on one of these, you know me in technology, but do look it up and give your personal comments as well as this corporate one. You will see that the government has not yet set the monies NCC will receive from them. They have agreed a 2% increase in the precept for social services, but this is to be ring-fenced and only be used to look after our increasing elderly population. There is a proposal to reduce grass cutting, which I hear from other parishes seems to be a Marmite proposal. Hopefully, the consultation will help there. You will see other proposals when you follow the link on this agenda, but please remember that all decisions will be made by full council at Norfolk, and after the consultation has been published and evaluated. This is a consultation. That's my update on it.
Thank you. And Terry?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Roy, for your introduction. Actually, it's worked really well, actually, both of us, and you've pretty much done a sort of preamble to the budget, which is really useful, I think. What I did this morning, maybe yesterday, I can't remember, was to go through the budget, because you and I know that this is probably, I don't know, 100, 200 pages long, a Norfolk County Council budget. Some of it is relevant to Thetford, some of it is not relevant to Thetford at all. So what I did was bring out the bullet points on the screen there for the bits that are of particular relevance to Thetford that we might want to comment as Thetford Town Councillors, but also what the public may want to comment on as well. So with your indulgence, Mr. Mayor, if I quickly run through the bullet points that are there.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay, so as Roy says, the first one is around council tax and the adult social care precept, and you can see the amounts on screen there. No surprise, the council is going for the maximum possible increase in terms of council tax and adult social care precept. So for a Band D in Thetford, that would be an extra £56.43 for the Norfolk County Council share. One of the biggest and probably the most controversial changes that are being proposed, and I think Roy's right, these are proposals at this stage, the consultation is live, but one of the proposals is to reduce opening hours at the household waste recycling centres, what you and I know as the tip, but at the moment there's more generous opening hours in the summer than the winter, and the plan is to reduce them in the winter and in the summer so that they're the same as the winter. There's a particular cut to the Norfolk Arts Service. I had to look that one up because I wasn't quite sure what it was, but they provide funding for organisations like The Garage in Norwich and Creative Arts East. Creative Arts East have done some specific stuff in Thetford for sort of older people, arts-related activities. The Garage is more for young people, but there's I think it's a £66,000 cut proposed there. Libraries, so the proposal is to cease accessible newspapers, magazines, periodicals, and actually a reduction in the amount of community library staff across Norfolk by 20%. I don't know how many staff we have at Thetford Library anymore, but in theory, if the 20% is across Norfolk the same, we'll have 20% less. I'm not sure how that pans out. Street lighting is one where I think it would be really useful if we did a specific comment. We are one of the very few areas in Norfolk where they still have part night lighting, where our street lights go off around midnight and come on again about 6 a.m. It actually saves more money to have the lights as LED than to have, and actually running efficiently. So I think we should be saying that actually if you're upgrading to LED, Thetford needs to be somewhere on top of that list, because we still have part night lighting, whereas the vast majority of Norfolk doesn't. There's 345k of additional income proposed for charging for services such as roundabout sponsorship, the little signs you see on the roundabouts. And then there's a reduction in grass cutting in urban areas, and I believe we're classed as an urban area, reducing from 5 cuts a year down to 4. And reducing rural grass cutting from 2 to 1. So it's 1 cut for rural areas in the whole of the year. So I can understand why some rural areas are concerned about that. And then lastly, the Your Norfolk magazine that we all get a couple of times a year, they're proposing to stop the paper production of that, which would save £100,000 a year across Norfolk. So depending how strongly you feel about receiving your Norfolk magazine, you might have a view on that. But they are the Thetford specific proposals as I see them. There probably are others, but as Roy said, you can all comment individually. But there's a couple on there where I think actually it would be good to have a Thetford Town Council response to make sure that we're getting a fair deal from Norfolk County Council. Thank you.
Roy?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just as some clarity, I did have a look, Terry, because thankfully I got your list today. The NAS isn't actually a reduction in funds. They're going to revamp the whole flipping thing. So yes, there will be some savings, but the garage will still be getting a fair amount of money. Because it's a big part of what they want to redo. And as far as librarians are concerned, none of them will be laid off. There were some that were not in post pre-COVID, and they won't be replaced, is where they're getting that from. So it's not as bad as it first looks. But it's something that we should, as a council, make sure that we itemise and say, OK, let's make sure that redesign isn't cut and laid off. If they're not there, then let's try and protect some of our people. The street lighting, that's a really big thing. Terry and I have really got to push the cabinet so that they prioritise Thetford. We're out on the limb, we're stuck down at the end. We're one of the larger places, and we're also one of the old-fashioned. Somebody once told me that they still thought we had gaslight in here, let alone non-LED. And it's something that Terry and I really do need to get together and push the cabinet to prioritise Thetford on. So that is something that we really ought to get in our response to Norfolk. As I say, we're quite fortunate as being not classed as country, so we will get some cuts. But that's really quite strange. How many people have said they do want it for the wildlife and the wildflowers, and it does all sorts of things. Equally as many have said, let's have the grass cut. So I would say to people, whatever happens to this consultation, keep an eye where the grass is cut, where it appears to be dangerous, corners, bends, and let Terry and I know so that we can pursue it from a health and safety point of view.
Thank you. I'm just checking the chat. Thank you,
Councillor Hudson's just put the link in the chat, and Councillor Harvey's put his hand up.
Thank you, Chris. And then we've got Stuart after Chris.
And Councillor Taylor as well.
Okay, in that order.
So you come to me first, yeah?
Chris, Stuart, then Mark.
Okay, this is more of an observation. As I was saying earlier, out of order. I mean, I would strongly object to any change in the household waste thing. But I have an observation. I'm really concerned about the fact we have to have these cuts, yet the council's decided to award themselves a 2.75% wage rise in September, backdated to April. I mean, how can you ask people to make cuts and struggle through when you're giving yourselves more money? It just doesn't seem right to me. Sorry.
Stuart.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just following on from Terry and Roy's presentation, I think it would be worthwhile having a town council representation as part of the consultation. And yes, you highlighted the street lights, but also I think like Chris has said, the cut to hours is not good. Brecon doing some good work on fly tipping of that now. The last thing we want to do is to see more and more fly tips because people can't get to the tip. Don't give them an excuse. In the summer, we will people mow, work in the garden, do bits more around the house. Let's keep the summer hours there to give people an opportunity to come and get rid of the rubbish. But I'd like to see the town council make representation along these points, please.
Mark.
Yeah, I'd like to back up Councillor Harvey. I mean, was there no proposal to have a cut in councillors' pay or to have a cut in the number of councillors that get paid? That would help with the budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillors Jeremy and Brain, thank you for bringing...
Comment back on that, Mr. Chairman, no?
Well, you want to come back on your own comment? Can you just let me...
No, I thought some of the county councillors might want to say something, because they get paid a lot of money. There's a lot of them. And, we're talking about upping our flight tipping again because they're going to close that. But what about the councillors taking a bit of pain like everybody else is?
Thank you, Mark. And I was just about to ask a question of both Councillor Jeremy and Councillor Brain. So thank you. Thank you for bringing this forward. It's important as a town that we engage with this, the consultation piece. And Roy's quite right to identify, actually, it is a consultation response. How would you like us to go forward? Terry, you've identified a couple of items specifically. And I'm just reaching out to you guys to ask how you would like us to, as a body or individually, engage the outcome.
I think there was a letter sent to all parish councils in Norfolk, so hopefully we received it as town council. But I think parish and town councils can write and sort of specifically highlight the things that are relevant to them, because obviously the whole of the budget won't be relevant. And I'm hearing from several people now about the household waste recycling centre, so I suggest if we were to write, that would be an important one to include, and then also about the streetlights. We can include as little or as much in the letter as you want, or rather the clerk can, because I assume it would be Tina that's writing on behalf of the council, or yourself, Mr. Mayor, I don't know. But there's certainly two issues there that people have commented on. I don't know if Roy have anything to add, but I'm more than happy to answer Councillor Taylor's point about council allowances if she wants to come back in a moment.
Roy, would you like to comment on?
Yeah, I must admit, very much in agreement with Terry. As I said in the presentation, I personally think that individual comments are a lot better. As I said, they've had over 200. If we do it as a corporation, they get 201. If we do it individually, they get 212, 14. So it's very important that you get your say. So if we do both, I think this is a really good idea. And please go to the NALC. I'm sure that there is a link to it, because NALC were very, very helpful to Norfolk to get this out to all parish and town councils. And I was speaking to Andrew today, and he said they are having a lot of response. So it's it's the way that it seems to be. As far as the being paid a lot of money is concerned, well, I quite fail to see that it's a lot of money. I spent an awful lot of hours doing an awful lot of stuff. I mean, this is I don't know how many hours on Zoom and Teams today, and it will be for the next 3 or 4 weeks. But as far as I'm concerned, we have decided that yes, the feeling at county is that yes, we are not going to let we're not going to penalise the people that follow us by not going with the recommendation of the independent recommendation, but we're all been given the choice to accept or not, and I can assure you that I won't be accepting. That's as much as I can personally do, and I'm not even sure that the vote has been taken by full council as to whether we are accepting it. I don't know, Terry, because I must admit I haven't been there the last couple of months for various reasons, but as I understood it, I didn't think it had happened yet. But my personal view is that I won't be taking it.
Thank you. Can I bring a new speaker into this? Brenda, you had your hand up.
Yes, I did, Mr. Mayor. I didn't want to, bother you or anything. It's just that that's a good document that the councillors have put out there, and it's relevant to Thetford. But I think overall, I would advise anybody that anywhere in Norfolk to answer Norfolk County Council, because we might think, oh yeah, it's about the grass. It's not. It's about the whole of Norfolk County Council and their budget. So it could be something to do with children. It could be to do with old people that might not have any relevance in Thetford, but as Norfolk as a whole, you might need that service one day. So a hit up on what Roy's saying. Individuals, read it and get your voices out there. Thank you.
Thank you. I will pick. I know you wanted to come back in, Tina, but if you just share a bit of information you just put into the text, that's quite useful.
Yeah, sorry, Mr. Mayor. I just put in that when they sent the consultation out, the consultation in its design is aimed at councils and parish councils. It's aimed at individuals answering, and therefore some of the questions and things, like when they ask us for our home addresses and things, doesn't quite really work for the town council. So as we did with the PSPO, council can agree what they wish to go in the letter. I can draft the letter and send it out to councils to have a look at, and then I can submit that to Norfolk County Council. But as both Councillor Jeremy and Brain said, councillors are free to fill that in as individuals as well. And then there's another 14 answers.
Thank you. Before I go, I'm going to welcome back Jane. She's resolved the tech issues. Terry.
I turned it off and turned it back on again.
The old-fashioned method. Marvellous. Terry.
No, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Town Clerk, for clarifying that. I think that's really useful. Councillor Harvey and Taylor did make a specific point about allowances, so I just want to comment on that. I've long held the view that councillors should be able to set their own allowances. If you look nationally, MPs used to be able to set the rate of pay for MPs. That was changed to an independent body without dictating by the MPs. I think that I hope the time will come when councillors don't vote on their own pay. The September 2020, the most recent increase that Roy referred to, 2.75%, I voted against. I'm paid the same as a county councillor this month as I was when I first joined the council, because even though they've voted to increase their own pay, I give the full increase away to local charities. I don't think I should be voting to increase my own pay at a time when we're cutting services. So I just wanted to answer that. And that specifically was one in September, which you weren't at for understandable reasons. So that's why you're aware of that. But the council did vote to put it up by a further 2.75%. But I voted against. I just wanted to answer that.
Thank you. I don't have any more speakers on that. So thank you. So I don't have any more speakers coming forward on this item. I think it's positive that both Roy and Terry have brought this item forward, and I would encourage any resident of Thetford actually. Tina, can we actually publish the link if it's not already on our website?
Yes, certainly. It has been out on Facebook and on our website, and the link is in the chat. But Tom is facilitating tonight, so I'll ask Tom that before he finishes this evening, if he could repost that link on our Facebook and website.
Fantastic. So we can encourage residents to engage with the consultation piece, and in view of the comments that it's set for individual responses, that might be the best way forward. Roy, just have you got a final comment?
Not about that. I'm just wondering. I think that Councillor Taylor is sharing his screen with everybody. I've got lots of pictures, and then when he just sort of tried to mute, I saw the mouse go. So I think he's sharing your screen, Councillor Taylor, with us all. Well, somebody was. That was just that Mark. When they said about muting, Mark's hand started to move, and the little mouse went up to the mute place. I thought, oh, it must be Mark. There you go.
Thank you. And again, can I thank you? Can I thank both Roy and Terry for bringing that item forward? And without any further comments on that, I'm going to take us back to item 539/20, which was community engagement, to discuss and agree any consultation or media release required. Do you have any comments, colleagues, or indeed Town Clerk, Tina?
I think, like I say, we'll publish the consultation again. I think that's probably one of the most prudent things that we can do this evening. And perhaps also we could remind councillors about Talking Up Thetford, and if they can give their filming schedules to me for the businesses they're supporting, that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you. You was muted, Councillor Taylor. Okay. Moving swiftly on. We're moving on to item 541/20 is committee officers update. To receive any update from the committee officer since the issue of the agenda. Do we have anything, Tina?
No, we haven't. You might be relieved to hear.
I'm going to plead the Fifth Amendment on that one. Before we move on to item 542/20, which is the exclusion of press and public, I'm going to take the opportunity before the public goes to wish them all, and it feels rather early, but to wish them the best of Christmases in this most difficult of years. And I just hope that 2021 is a better year for all, to friends, family, and residents across Thetford. And that is, at that point, I'm going to move on to item 542/20, which is the exclusion of press and public. And to consider resolving that pursuant to the Public Bodies Admissions to Meetings Act 1960, the press and public be excluded for any remaining items of business on the grounds that publicity would be prejudicial to the public interest by reason of the confidential nature of the business to be discussed. At that point, I will close the meeting to the public.